First, I'm here from Austin, Renato Grau and Trends News with my friend Marcel, a great friend that I knew last year in South by Southwest. And we have the great pleasure to meet Jan Beacraft. Jan, please present yourself. I think most of the people know you, but please.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me. My name is Ian Beacraft. I am the CEO of Signal and Cipher, and we are essentially a change management firm focusing on the future and foresight around a AI-powered workforce, and we help companies understand what that future looks like for their organization, and then we reorganize the work that they do, as well as the way they structure their organization and the work that they do, so that they can achieve the most positive version of that future for themselves.
Great. And in your presentation yesterday, you talked a lot about processes.
Yes.
Processes are not technology,
Correct.
but I think it's the main issue to work with technology. Is it true?
The main issue is how we work with technology?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The main focus
Yeah.
for us to work in
Yes.
the companies that you can show the benefits of
Yes.
technologies, it will be the processes.
Yes, I would absolutely agree with that. I think that the modern way of thinking about work, and we talk about digital transformation and IT transformation and business transformation, most digital transformations have been IT driven. So the IT company or the IT organization drives that conversation, that process.
Yeah.
They select the technology, they do the assessment, and they're the leads on a lot of these projects. And then they install it in their organization, and they're an essential part of that because they know how to look out for certain things that are incompatible with the tech stack that you have, how to maintain cybersecurity within your organization. Those are all really important things.
Yeah.
The challenge is, if that's what you're focused on, then the development of the technology revolution in your company is all tech-driven and ignores the human component. And we've all seen that when we bring in new technology, we expect the people around the technology to adapt. You adapt to technology. The technology is what it is. You figure out where you play. And we're at a place where we've seen that play over and over again, and we're expecting the same thing to happen with AI. The difference with AI is it's way smarter, it can do way more, and if I keep saying this is going to be IT driven, we're not thinking about how does it impact the roles of the people in the organization, the work that they do, and the emotions that creates. Like is there an opportunity for us to treat people as three-dimensional human beings beyond just the work and the value they create? And AI presents that more than any other technology I've ever seen. But if we treat it in the same dumb, automatic way that we have with other technological revolutions, we're ignoring that, and we're not treating people in that way. So I think that companies that say this is just going to be an IT initiative, we're just going to be implementing these tools, and then you'll work with that, we're missing the process, we're missing the creative opportunity, we're missing all of the potential to really transform our organization. So when you talk about process,
Yeah.
I think that's so important because that becomes a dialogue between management and the people doing the work. And what we do is we focus on how process breaks down, what can be automated, and then what can be augmented for people. And if you're conversing between the people doing the work and the people who are looking to structure the company for the future, that becomes a partnership instead of being adversarial. That's key. That other IT relationship I talked about doesn't consider that because IT is not in the business of managing the people and the work and all that. They're just there to implement the system. And I don't mean to rag on IT people. They're super essential. But by having this dialogue between the people doing the work and the managers, you come to an understanding together of what the future of that work looks like. That creates a collaborative environment versus an adversarial one of, I'm implementing the system, it's going to automate 20% of your job. Go figure out how you provide more value to me. And instead,
Perfect.
it's something we do together.
May I have a question? Pode ser aqui.
Just a minute.
Yeah, okay.
Because I have a question related to this. I went to a session today from John Hagel from Deloitte. And I was almost leaving the session to meet you guys. And John said one thing that it's a very important issue that's related to what you've just said. During the digital transformation journey, you have the technical issues, you have the business issues, but you also have to worry about the emotional issues.
Yes.
What do you think about that? It's very related to you just said.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that companies as large and as influential as Deloitte are thinking about it that way.
Yeah.
Because that it really is a three-dimensional way to look at work. Function of the organization is critically important, but your people are your most important resource. And that's going to stay that way even after the AI revolution.
Yeah.
Because we're still going to be interacting with and directing these things. And the emotional component is so important into work. I think that the world became a little more aware of that during the pandemic, where we all went through some real issues collectively and realized, okay, that impacts not just the work that they do, but who they are as a human being. And that's a cycle. Like, all of that holistically impacts your company, whether you want to admit it or not. So I think that it's phenomenal. We're starting to talk about that way and saying, I'm not asking you to bring your whole self at work, but I am asking you to consider your whole self and how that's going and how you're doing based on what we, as an organization, how we play a role in that.
Ian, I've learned, and maybe you too, and Renato too, all our lives we learned about answer questions. So now we have the AI to answer questions, and we don't know how to do the questions, the right questions. Mm-hmm. So we're talking always about learning about AI, about technical skills, but I think the most important thing, and I just want to know your opinion, when we will learn human skills that are very important for the new age that are coming. Because I think that everybody's trying to know how to code or to use the AI, but I think it's a mindset shift that we have to do, because the same skills that I use it in all my life, it's not very useful now. I have to talk more about this, please.
Yeah.
Can I complement this? Because you said also at your presentation about the new profile of the professionals, about the generalists, the creative generalists that are empowered by technology. I think this is related to Marcel asked for you. And with this, what about the polymaths? Do you know the polymaths?
Yes,
they are have to retire themselves.
I think they're even more powerful than they've ever been. Because I consider myself a creative generalist. I remember thinking as a kid, what do I want to do when I grow up? Because I want to do too many things. I have interests in everywhere, and I collect new hobbies and interests all the time. And the beautiful thing is AI can allow me to go so much deeper, so much faster on things I'm fascinated about. AI is a phenomenal attention-driving mechanism. I can select the things I'm really interested in, and I can go so deep, so fast, and figure out, is this really for me or is it not? And I can kind of get to a point where I'm like, okay, that's enough for me. I'll move on. Or, oh my gosh, this is my new calling. I'm in. And I think that AI will give that opportunity to so many new people that didn't have avenues for exploration of these interests that they had. So I think that's one thing, is like, you don't have to have access to a really nice library to go find technical manuals on things anymore. You don't have to have access to the brightest minds. The digital revolution brought some of that available, but you still needed access. And a lot of that was gated. You had to find it. AI can help you find it. AI can help you synthesize it. AI can help you put it into practice. And all of these things that when you do these billions of times over with billions of different people, that completely creates a different economy for knowledge and skill acquisition. So to the question that you were asking, how does this affect like the human skills that are come out of this? There's two sides of that. One, the human skills we're going to lose, because we will lose some. Like just even by texting, we're losing vowels. You know, and you can say, oh, you can lament that, or you can say, okay, this is enhancing communications and the speed of decision making. There's a trade-off. And with AI, I think that it really does get to the point of, I talked about the surface area of the question, and AI enhancing how much of a surface area you can cover in the allotted amount of time that you have. And when everyone just gets used to it, says, okay, I didn't just look at 5 or 6 different avenues last night when I did my desktop research. Oh, I looked at 464 million different possible computations last night using my, my AI-powered MIT level math professor. And he said he did this, and then we looked at, I ran a machine learning model on it, and it did some Monte Carlo simulations on the probabilities of this thing playing out. And I didn't have to know anything about it. I just typed it in and kind of put this and this and this together. And based on the assessment of the situation, here are the things that we need to be looking at and working out. Here are the possibilities of this going wrong this way. Here's the map of how that would go out. And yeah, I was done after about 25 minutes. Like, if you think about that, we are already a symbiotic being with AI. We're already a cyborg. We didn't have to put chips in our arms. We didn't have to replace a limb. That is a symbiotic closed loop of thinking and thought partnership with the machine to create new value for the human physical world. And when people realize that that can be a symbiotic collaborative relationship, the narrative, I think, changes from man versus machine, which is where we're focused right now. The machines are coming for your jobs, and man with machine.
Merge it.
Absolutely.
This is our brain extension, you know.
Truly.
Yeah,
Truly.
this is the metaverse. We are always plugging this, and maybe in a few years it comes inside us, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about it? It's my last question.
About
about the future also. I would like, you're talking about the velocity of the things that's going so faster. And what about AI working on a quantum computer in real production? What do you see for our future? Do you believe in a utopic world or a dystopic world?
So to answer both of those questions, when I talk about like the current versions of human and bionic technology, we're already there. This is a symbiotic relationship. Just the placement on the body moves, you know. And when it comes to quantum computing, I'm so fascinated with where that's going and what it means. And the field of quantum science in particular is mind-bending. And I think what I am confident about is we're going to discover new things about how the universe works that change our fundamental relationship with it. So there's this statement I make in some of my speeches that the world of 2023 will look so different to that of somebody in 2050 the way we look back at the 17th century. And that's only 36 years from now. No, 26 years from now, sorry, 26 years from now. And it's like back in the 1800s, the average person bathed 1 time a year. That sounds so backwards now. It's like, how could you let yourself do that? But people are going to look at us and say, how could you let yourself do that? You thought you were such evolved beings, you knew nothing.
Man for the caves.
Yes, truly. It really, that's where we are right now. We think we're so advanced and we know so much. We're at an amazing point in time where we get to see the inflection point, where it all began. This is where it all began. This is where Human 2.0 begins. And we have this 3 million year time span of first tool usage and fire around 3 million years ago, our brains growing as a result of cooked food, like all these different transformations that took place. And that pace of innovation just changes and changes and continues to accelerate and collapse time. So if you think about where we are, this really is the point where things go parabolic and the nature of being a human will change. Part 1 just closed this chapter. Part 2 has just begun.
Wow.
Great. What about the utopic or dystopic future?
So I actually, that debate drives me mad because I hate the tribal nature of it, because there are people who are, Elijah Yudkowsky, respect many things he's done, but the charged nature of nuke the data centers, we're all going to die. I understand he's trying to be alarmist. But then you have other people who are like, well, we're going to cure aging and disease, and we'll all be slender and fit and happy, and we'll want for nothing. I'm like, okay, bullshit on both sides. And then the problem with that is these two sides don't talk with each other. They don't come together and say, let's create a better future. Let's avoid this and let's create that. No, they say, I know better than you. You're wrong. You. And the other side is the same thing. And we're watching these two parents bicker with each other while we're sitting here just trying to play with our toys. And as a result of being distracted by this argument, which neither is grounded in reality, we're missing all the red flags of the things that we do need to focus on today to create that better future, because we're distracted up here. So it actually takes our power away. It says, these smart people who think they know what they're talking about are the ones you should pay attention to. By the way, there's nothing in their vision that you can act on right now. While instead, the things that happen in front of you on a day-to-day basis are things you can make decisions about. But you're too distracted to pay attention. And that's how we got in this mess in the first place with social media, with digitization. Like, they brought great things, but they also brought great ills. We know how that movie plays out. So if we can spend less time with we're all going to die, we're all amazing, and we're all here, that, I think, will bring about a much better future.
Great. And so we can think in a binary way of thinking. We have used quantum also. It's a process of thinking. That's
Yes.
it. Yeah.
I love
And
that.
the last question. What about the singularity? Do you believe?
Oh, man. Oh, that's
Do you
Call
agree?
Ray Charles right
Do you
after
agree
that.
with Ray?
Yeah, my buddy Ray and I, no. I believe it will be the case for some. You know, I think that it's kind of like you have a choice to opt in and opt out. And I think that there will come a time where technology will become so advanced and so pervasive that you can say, I'm in, or you can say, no, I'm not. And society will fragment along those lines. Yeah. And that's okay. It comes to a point, again, where we choose how that shapes out. Do the people who opt in make life problematic for people who don't? How do we approach that? How do we approach that in a holistic sense that enhances humanity? And I think that people look at the element of the singularity and say, if you're becoming essentially fused with a digital being, can you still have humanity? And to somebody, again, coming from the caveman days of version 1.0, that doesn't make any sense. But if you look at the world in 2050 and the year 3000, then all of a sudden, what's ethical, moral, pervasive, all those things have shifted. Our morals and our ethics are way different than when we decided, hey, Galileo, you're nuts, we're going to kill you. And it's the same thing's going to happen again to us.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think people have a hard time saying my soul and my humanity can be augmented by being one with a non-organic species. But I think that there's a potential for that. Do I know how that looks? Absolutely not. But I think that the idea of closing yourself off to that possibility is very nearsighted.
Great.
Very good.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
My
you
pleasure.
very,
This is
very much.
always a fun conversation.
It's very good.
Next talk we will meet in Brazil, okay?
I look forward to that.